Hi there, welcome to Nighttime Line Talks. Today I have my second eye surgery. Remember weeks ago I have the first eye. Today I've been operated on the right eye. The delay was due the pandemic and the quarantine, so I couldn't follow up. And I'm not Jose Feliciano. My respects for Jose Feliciano. Somebody told me that I look like him. Okay, it's an honor. I love his famous song, Feliz Navidad. But I was talking yesterday about Turner Broadcasting System. Before we forgot this brand, we have to bring under your attention and keep this video for posterity and new generations that Ted Turner did a lot of great things. He considered himself the citizen of the world, and he mostly all the time wears a necktie with the flags of all countries all over the world. Well, when I was working for him, look at, I kept this souvenir. Turner and AOL, Time Warner, I guess, I can read. Time Warner Company. And they gave us these shirts once a year because I've been part of the team Turner, TV Turner volunteers. And we go, I take my son with me and sometimes my wife, and we go to clean parks, public parks in Atlanta. We go and paint rooms in the Grady Hospital. There is a unit to provide dialysis and to provide chemotherapies and radiations to kids. Well, guess what we did? And I was so happy to do this with my son and Jim Sample, who was the president of Cartoon Network Worldwide, and myself. We paint the cartoon characters. They give us a template that we put on the wall, and we've been painting all the characters on the room. And this is one of the most amazing experiences I have. Why? Because when the room was ready and available, somebody sent me pictures with the kids in recovery using that room. And it is why I kept this wonderful shirt of Turner volunteers. I told to my wife, you know what, I'm going to keep the one I use and my son use because it's a great souvenir. I hope AT&T, the new owners of the Turner Library, keep doing such projects because it's something that identifies Ted Turner as his fingerprint. When he merged with Time Warner, he donated millions and millions, I believe $1 billion to United Nations foundations. Also, Ted Turner is the largest landlord in the United States of America and in Argentina. And guess why he buys a lot of property? He does because he likes to preserve nature. Yes, he likes to preserve nature, and what he wants to do after a certain time of years, he's reforesting and doing a lot of work with his money, and later he's going to donate that land to make national parks and more green areas for people and for the environment, for the nature recover their space. How many times here in Atlanta we are driving on any highway and we see deers crossing the road, foxes. Many times happens to me around the corner here of my house. So that's a nice thing. And for example, Ted Turner never hesitates to help in any non-profit organization. And it's something that I need to bring under your attention because the mural on Techwood campus is nice, it's huge, everybody stop and take pictures, and we share it on the social networks, and we are part of the social pages on Facebook of all former Turner employees. But it's also important to mention all that legacy because he deserves a recognition. His family appreciate that. And Turner is now retired of all activities and enjoying his nature on his Montana ranch where he has a lot of bisons. Basically, he has a chain of restaurants with the most delicious meats, bison meat. I really like it. Ted Montana Grill is the name of the restaurant. Let's go to make promotion because if you stop in Atlanta one day, you really deserve to be in one of these locations. There is one in Buckhead. There is one 2 blocks away from the CNN Center. In fact, that one located in downtown Atlanta has a small house on the top, on the second floor, and is there where Ted Turner lives. Some friends and co-workers visited him when he spent some time in Atlanta. And when he's not there, he's on his ranches in Argentina or Montana or a lot of states. He is the biggest landlord, and I believe he did the right decision at the time he acquires all that properties, thinking to restore nature and later plan to donate to humanity. Oh, that's so amazing. But I am excited and I like that new generations don't forget this logo, Turner Broadcasting System, because I felt so sad when I was driving in Techwood and I saw a machine removing the Turner logo from the top of the buildings. That makes me cry. Yeah. Why? I spent 18 years there working for that brand. And I am sure my former co-workers, Dina Krupinski, Tony Bourbon, Cecilia Massa, Kevin Gallagher, Flavio, Luis Estrada, who else? Many people, Clara Durango, who else? Oh, there are hundreds and hundreds of people. Terry Molansky, who else from the beginning team? A lot of beginners, and it's the ones I like to mention. Later with the years, more people come and enhance that wonderful team. But the good thing is mention the beginners because in the morning we work for TNT. And later in the afternoon, we help to repost promotions, videos of Cartoon Network Domestic in English, and we translate it and make a post-production in Spanish in order to launch Cartoon Network Latin America. That was a fever. And I remember one of the facts was so nice that Turner don't believe in exclusivity. So he never sell his networks exclusively to one cable operator in any territory. So Carlos Diaz was in charge of sales, and he sold to Cablevision of Televisa, and separately he sold to Multivision of Joaquin Vargas. All of them already carry Cartoon Network, CNN, etc. But they were believing that they have the exclusivity of Cartoon Network. And Cartoon Network Latin America is being launched in a Kids Day on April 30. Guess what? When they realize that they have no exclusivity, Mr. Carlos Diaz made them believe they have the channel exclusively for themselves, Multivision and Cablevision, and it wasn't true. So when they find out that they don't have exclusively, Justino Compián O'Farrill of Cablevision was very mad Mr. Azcárraga was still alive, and they boycott the Turner programming. They don't buy Turner programming. That means Castor Rock, New Line Cinema, and a lot of materials that they don't buy for Mexico and some countries in Latin America where they have channels, in retaliation for this situation. But Miss Charlotte Leonard was very smart. She asked me, Francisco, please call Aliana Azcárraga, Emilio Azcárraga daughter. She knows her very well, and organize a meeting in the restaurant Del Lago in Chapultepec. So they met for a nice dinner, they talk, and they enjoy good time. And that was a public relations meeting to end all those retaliations. Mr. Azcárraga was close for his retirement. He wasn't feeling well, and he was traveling on his boat, Echo, Enlaces de Comunicaciones Orbitales. Yeah, he has a very fancy boat. Then he travels from Mexico to New York on his boat with his best friends. And once he arrived to a city, for example, in New York, he supervised the channels they own there of Galavision. Galavision was an affiliate of Televisa, and they also have channels in Spain. And one day I was talking with a friend, and he told me, Francisco, the only day I saw El Tigre, Emilio Azcárraga, cry was one day when the Spanish government, the King of Spain, pays tribute to Televisa, telling, I can't believe it. The king says, we conquer Mexico, and now Mexico conquer us with their television programming. Well, that declaration happens at the end of the 1990s, and immediately Grupo Prisa start to move over and make partnerships with Televisa. And they print El País in Mexico. They associated with W Radio. They have a lot of partnerships. But guess what? A big failure. They don't have penetration. They don't have a leadership of opinion. If W Radio, if El País do not mention the stories led by Grupo Reforma, they don't have readers. It's hard to say, but it's the truth. And Reforma, honestly, I have to recognize that because I work on Reforma's father, El Norte de Monterrey. like it or not, El Norte de Monterrey is the father of Reforma newspaper. And I love that. Nobody handles that way. I do. Because I worked there almost 9 years when I was doing my college, my bachelor in mass media, and I graduated thank you to a scholarship given by Alejandro and Rodolfo Junco de la Vega, and I appreciate that. And guess what? I was on the newsroom beginning to work on El Norte. I cover police stories, and Ramon Alberto Garza came and told me, Frank, look for a medium used car and let me know the price and we help you to pay, because you need a car to move to cover the stories in Atlanta. I turn around and I say, Ramon, thank you, but my father is paying college tuition for two of us. My sister that is studying for dentist school, and myself that I'm studying mass media, both of us in private institutions. And it's very expensive. We add the housing, food, etc. So why not you pay me the college tuition and I take care of moving? Why? Because with a good learning from the school, I'm going to write a very good reports on the newspaper. I don't need a car to do that. I need to study and learn more. So he washed me on my eyes and shake my hand and says, deal. And since then, El Grupo El Norte pays my college tuition. And I really appreciate and I am grateful for that. So, minutes later, Alejandro Junco came and tell what's going on, and I have to run because I have a pending assignment to cover, and Ramon explains to Alejandro. And that is one of the nice memoirs I have from my jobs, and is what I told to my son. When he was a very young kid, I always tell a story about the police stories I cover. For example, one day somebody assaulted a gas station in Mexico. And in Mexico, when you go to pump gas, you don't do it by yourself. There is an employee that have a bunch of cash and he pumps your gas and you pay there and he gives you your change. Well, one day somebody assaulted this guy and they give him a gunshot on the front head. And he has a hole bleeding here and another hole on the back of his head, also bleeding. But he was talking, he was moving, and when I arrived with the paramedics of the ambulance, we say, what's going on? And he denies to go to be checked by physicians. And he opposed to the assault. They never can take the bunch of money he held on his hand. His hand was a fistful of money. So when the paramedics check, what happens is the bullet, the bullet is curved on the front and crash with the most hard part of the brain, of the bone, and the bullet goes under the skin and turn around and leave on the back. That is why he doesn't have problems, because the bullet never penetrates his brain. So I told this story to my son and he was so fascinated, and he says me every night, Daddy, tell me another story. And my wife was so mad because she likes my son pray with her, and he learns many stories. Later, I have to buy the subscription to Reforma, so he learned very good Spanish listening, watching marionetas, a cartoon. I never have time to watch it, but my son did, and he has a lot of fun. And we learn from media, we have to be honest. and we learn from media. But coming back to the Turner Agreement, something that I was very excited and be part of is that one day I was talking with Miss Louise Sams. Louise Sams is the head of the legal department, and she asked me a question in regard of syndication of some libraries and contracts we have. And she asked me how I've been working on El Norte newspaper. And I told her, oh, that was nice. And you know what? Why not you join forces? Because they were starting CNN Spanish project, in the one I was assisting also. And Turner opens an office in Mexico City for CNN. And they hire Luis, a group of bunch of kids that led by Fabricio Tapia. Fabricio Tapia is from Chile, but he also have nationality of Nicaragua and United States. I don't know how, but he has 3 nationalities. But the funniest thing is he hires a group of people, Mauricio Loria, and a group of accountants. I forgot almost all the names. Luis, oh gosh, great friends. Well, all these people form the office in Mexico City to start not only the office, also the broadcast of a weekly show called Negocios Mexico, CNN Reforma. And was a great hit, but for some reason, politics, they stopped it. And they just joined forces like year and a half. But CNN has a great projection because they use the popularity of Grupo Reforma. On the market, CNN wants to be influence or influential. That is the medium class and top class people. Later, they acquire Expansion, the magazine. Later, they acquire and create other publications, and they did great. They did. Luis Esparza, a group of graduates from Tecnológico de Monterrey. Luis Esparza, Mauricio Loria, who else was on that group? A bunch of Mexicans, and when the project was canceled, they moved them to Atlanta, and from Atlanta they were coordinating the tech support group. They were the technicians that come and fix your computer and do many things. And later they moved them to equip the building they acquired in Buenos Aires, Argentina, close to the River Plate Stadium in Palermo. So it's fascinating. At the time we remember all those things. Sad situations happens with Mauricio Loria. I hope he is doing fine. Gunnar told me about his sad story, and I pray for him. And since that happened, all this group diminished and they are out. Anyway, but they were great people. They were very working people. And Turner Broadcasting has a lot of stories, not only to air, also behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, Turner Broadcasting System has a bunch of situations. And for example, Sandra Molina told me once, she was the PR director for TNT Latin America. She works under the direction of the general manager of public relations of Turner Broadcasting, Rittenberry. I forgot her last name. Her last name is Rittenberry. And Sandra Molina was contacting public relations offices that helps to promote the channels, promotes the networks. But one day I told Sandra, Why spend too much money? You know what? In college I was with Adal Ramones, and he has a very popular show, Otro Rollo, in Mexico City. I can call his producer, and you can take Viggo Mortensen or some of the actors we are using on the original productions or on the Warner movies, and you will save a lot of money and you can have free promotion. Well, I called the producer of Otro Rollo and I say, well, do you like to have Viggo Mortensen so other Ramones can interview and this and blah, blah, blah. Oh, Francisco Rocio Viques, the producer, a friend of mine. Yes, Francisco, let's go to do it. Please let me know when they come and I organize everything. And please, Adal says that if you can send us an actor every other week, it will be amazing. So I told to Sandra Molina, I proposed that in a meeting, and Carlos Astolfi, the boss of finances, approves because he saw on budget-wise how much money they were saving if they do that in public relations. You know, public relations charge you at least $250,000 just to contact Televisa and try to air Viggo Mortensen interview on Televisa. And I did free with other Ramones. And that was one of the many nice experiences I kept working for Turner, because Adal Ramones takes the epistemology class with me with teacher Nicandro Tamés, I guess. We take several classes together. But Adal Ramones, if you see him talking on his broadcast, jokes in many situations, he's a comedian. But on the deep part of his personality, he's very serious. Unfortunately, a mutual friend told me that he has a problem, a heart disease. So I wish Adal recovers and stay okay. A very nice person, and he really works hard to find that position on television, honestly. And we have the same alma mater, Universidad Regiomontana, UR, a great, great house to study mass media because we have wonderful teachers like Dr. Agustín Basabe Fernández del Valle. We study on his own books. We have Luis Martin, a wonderful writer and director of productions, Gerardo Garza Fausti, many people, Cesar Salas, a wonderful professional photographer, many, many people. I was very excited and happy at the time I enjoyed school there. So putting together all these experiences, we enrich situations on the one Turner Broadcasting System grows thanks to the expansion of contacts and network they create all over the world. I hope AT&T keep doing the same. They have a good network for optical fibers and cellular phones, and they are planning to put the libraries on the cellular phones. I have one with AT&T, one of my phones, and they have a great service, honestly. And if they give you access to the library worldwide of TNT, Cartoon, CNN Spanish, whatever, they are going to grow so fast and they are going to do wonderful things worldwide. So tonight I try to bring you this huge aspect of my personal experiences working those 18 years in Turner Broadcasting System, because we really learn Probably tomorrow I am going to tell you about the artist of the voiceovers and what happened when Televisa tried to sue Turner Broadcasting System because the cartoons have voiceovers in Spanish paid by Televisa. They have El Tata, the famous actor, doing the voices for Fred Flintstone and other characters. So Turner Broadcasting System not only hired great voiceover actors like François Clemenceau, his wife Federica, they are really great actors that enrich the dubs of cartoons and movies. Enrique Garduza, actor also, very versatile. They brought and they contact Jorge Labat and they contact El Tata, Jorge Arbizu, and his brother. And they sign an agreement with Turner because signing this agreement with Turner Broadcasting System, Televisa was exempt of that lawsuit because beginning at that time, they were talents that worked full time for Turner Broadcasting System, and they escaped the huge lawsuit for millions and millions of dollars. So many things are behind the scenes in Cartoon Network, Turner Broadcasting. Everything is past. Now they are under new brand's umbrella, Warner Media. But if tomorrow I pass away or I have a problem with the coronavirus, uh, we never know, depends on Lord. But I don't like you forgot these wonderful shirts that Turner gave us to help cleaning parks and painting hospitals and doing wonderful, amazing things to help the society in Atlanta. Because Ted Turner is a benefactor of good causes all over the world. He likes to dismantle atomic bombs. He likes to bring peace everywhere in the world. And when they cancel the Olympic Games in Russia or boycott the Olympic Games, he created the Goodwill Games and sponsored the transmission with CNN. So many things were happening. But tomorrow I promise bring you another part on this nice story. Everything is coming from the deepest part of my heart. But I want to tell you, before the German attacks me here, I'm going to put all this information in my broadcast. Thank you and have a good night. Lord bless the world. Lord bless America. Lord bless everyone. Thank you.